Hey guys, so I wanted to give you some insight into the design process that I use. This is not the only way to do it, but this is the way I've chosen to do it. And the first thing I really do is go searching for some artwork online that I can use and incorporate into my design. The basics of each design is 1 to 2 images, trying to find the simplest ones I can that look good, in addition to the pack's name. So really half of it is typography, finding the right font and finding the right image. That's not too complex, but it's also not too simple. So today I'm working on Ascot, making a design for him. He got his name from Boy Scouts. So basically all I'm doing here is just using the search terms vector graphics, Boy Scout hat, or in this case, Ascot. Just looking for different things out there. This one's awesome. Definitely very complex, and it's going to take a long time to accomplish. So let's see. I'll just go ahead and keep searching Google Images until I find something that I like. I did find one already, but this just gives you an idea of what's out there. Once I find one, I save that image. I do have that image saved already. Let's see. There we go. Here's Ascot. So fairly simple design, just a few colors. I use Photoshop to create my designs, just because it's a software that I've used, I'm familiar with it. It's not the only way to do it, and I'm definitely no expert at Photoshop, but I know enough to be able to make a design. So the first thing you want to do once you have your image, or your idea of what the design is going to look like, is to create a canvas. Now, a cinder block is 8 by 8 by 16 inches in the store, but if you actually go and measure it, it's kind of like a 2x4 where it's a ½ inch short. So it's actually 15.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. So I've saved a preset for this, so I don't have to plug that in every time. I know I'm creating a cinder block as my canvas, so click OK. I've got my canvas. At this point, I'm just going to grab the image I've already searched up and saved. Zoom out a little bit and just kind of see, holding the shift key and making it larger will keep it from getting distorted. We'll keep the aspect ratio. So that's kind of nice. We'll probably move this off to the right of the block, just so I have room for the font, the name. Hit enter to apply that. So we've got that part of it. I'm going to try to keep this design simple because I know I've got some more complex designs planned in the upcoming week. So I'm going to need a simple one or two to keep from losing my mind and keep from getting too far behind. Next step is going to be to find a font. Finding a font online is pretty easy. Let's see if I can move this. There we go. So I just use the website Defont. It's got all sorts of great free fonts. So I'm just going to go and search Boy Scout. I have nothing for it, huh? Okay. In that case, going back to the main page, you can see they've got all sorts of different fonts. Let's see. Outdoor, thinking Boy Scout, or maybe nature. That's pretty good. But something like this is going to be really hard because you have to separate the white from the black in the font. So in general, fonts that have straight lines are going to be much easier to cut out. Rounded corners and weird shapes are always harder. Let's see. I'm not seeing one that, usually one just jumps out to me as, yeah, that's the one, but This is kind of cool, pretty easy, and it's got a little bit of additional detail that shouldn't be too hard to accomplish. So I'll give that one a try. So go ahead and download the font. And opening up the zip file. I can just open up the font, take a look at it. I like it. I can choose to not do that fish if I don't want to later, or I don't have time. I'm just going to go ahead and install that. And now going back to my design software, Photoshop here, I'm going to select my text tool. Let's see, go find Touch of Nature. And then it's got, it's a little big. So I can move that a little bit, but still it's too big. So I'm going to move my image over a little bit more to make room for it. And I might make it just a little bit smaller. I like that there's a fish here and it's only in one of the letters. Kind of balances the design. Got the image over here, some basic letters, and then a little bit more detail in one of the letters, which is pretty cool, I think. So I like it. I'm going to go with that. The last thing to do before saving the design and printing it out is going to the brush tool and just doing a light black brushing around the edge. And you'll see why later on, but basically what I'm doing here, I just did it on the background, but I'm also going to select my image layer. And at the very least, get it in each corner. And this is really just for layout on the block. Once I print this out, I'm going to cut out each corner and cover it with clear tape, so that when I lay this out on the block, I can see through and align the corners properly. So I know that my bottom edge is straight and my vertical edges are straight too before I go and spray paint. All right, once I've got that, of course, save the design. I like to save it as a PSD, a Photoshop file, in case I need to make any more changes or need to reference it later for any reason. And at this point, I'm going to count my number of colors that I've got here and print out that many copies of it. So Photoshop strips out the colors, but we've basically got a red. So that's one layer, a brown for the hair, it's 2 layers, a light brown, I guess, for the hat and the shirt, and a tan, kind of more tan color for the top of the hat. I'm going to call this brown 1. The red and darker brown I could probably accomplish in 1 layer. So I'm going to say that's 1 layer, red and dark brown. That's 1 layer. We've got the skin, like a peach skin tone. That's 2. Then I've got my light brown, that's 3. And my little bit more tan brown is 4. So you can see that this design is already becoming more complex than I had thought, just due to the number of colors. 4. And then on the block itself, we've got white. I'm just going to do a white background to start. That doesn't need, I don't need anything for that. I don't need to print anything after that. I'm just going to spray white before I start anything. So I'm still at 4 colors. And then my last one is black. That's going to be 5 colors. So I need 5 copies. I'm going to print this out. Since the block is wider than an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I have to print it in 2 halves. And when I do that, I like to pick something on the block that's going to help me orient those 2 sides together when I go to tape them. So they're not off-centered or skewed, and their horizontal lines are lined up with each other. So I usually look for something in the design that's going to help me do that. I like that I've got 3 reference points here: the hat, the nose, and the ascot on this side anyway. So I need 5 copies of that. On the left side, I'm going to print that out. And then I need 5 copies. If I click and drag over on the right side and print that out.